Hello everybody and welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy 1 Dawn of Souls. Last time we finished up the Hellfire Chasm, this time we headed to the Lifespring Grotto. And I've rushed right into this. Look at that, I already got to the second floor real quick. Okay, so this is the third of the Soul of Chaos dungeons. If you haven't watched the first two episodes, this is a post-commentary, just so you know now. So there might be a lot of long lulls where I don't say anything because I have nothing too good to say. I will go ahead and say I do show only one of each type of enemy in this place, so I will be cutting out any battles that do not matter. I will also point out that this is episode 1 of 3 for this dungeon. Yeah, this dungeon takes so long, I split it into 3 parts. This first part, we will make it all the way to... I think we just make it to the halfway point of this dungeon. Oh, by the way, this dungeon is 20 floors, as opposed to the Hellfire Chasm being 10. There's a boss on the 5th floor, the 10th floor. No. Is that how it is? Hold on. How is the boss set up? No. There's 20 floors. How did they do this? How did they set it up? I can't remember. I think it is the 5th floor, the 10th floor, and the 20th floor. There's 2 bosses on the 20th floor. So, that means you have to do this dungeon 2 times as well. Now, if I'm wrong on that, don't quote me that on 100%, but I do know for sure you have to go through this dungeon 2 times because there are 2 bosses on the last floor, and they are bitches. I'll point that out now. This dungeon contains the 2 hardest bosses in the game, both harder than any of the bosses you fight in the last dungeon, the last of these 4 Soul of Chaos dungeons. Those 2 bosses are bitches. I will definitely be commentating during those matches when I get to them. Those boss fights when I get to them, because holy shit. And to be honest, one of them is its own video, and I won't say which one. If you already know which 2 bosses I'm referring to, just know that they're bitches. And I'll give one clue, because this dungeon is actually the theme of Final Fantasy V. So all the bosses in this dungeon will be from Final Fantasy V. If you don't recognize them, I will point out what part of the game they're from, or where you might fight them in Final Fantasy V. And if I don't remember, well, you're just going to have to wait till I start playing Final Fantasy V, and then I'll remember. But like I said, there's going to be long lulls in this video, so don't expect me to talk the whole time. I mean, I figure these episodes are going to be more walkthroughs than LPs anyways. That's partially the reason why I didn't bother to commentate while I was doing them. Also, these things took me hours and hours to freaking go through. Mostly because, you have to go through them more than once. If I didn't have to go through all these dungeons more than once, then I would have recorded these a whole hell of a lot faster. And I also pointed out that I could have just saved right before each boss and then did a different boss instead on the floors where you have to choose. But I decided I was just going to fight the bosses legit and, point out that I did have to go through the whole dungeon a second time. Because I did, and it sucked. Oh, and this one, to be honest, I actually had to do the whole dungeon 3 times. I really wish I didn't have to, and I would point out why, but it was just really sad why I had to do it a 3rd time. It just really, really sad. Oh, is this that one floor? Yep, this floor is really annoying. Having had to do this dungeon 3 times, I remember which floors were really annoying. I really do. Because, I mean, think about it. I had to do the first dungeon 4 times, just to fight each of the 4 bosses. But that was only 5 floors each, so that's 20 floors I had to go through, right? The second dungeon, I had to go through 2 times, 10 floors each time. That's 20 floors. So I went through 20 floors 2 times. That's cool. Doable. I went through this dungeon, got through the 20 floors thinking, oh, I only got to do it once. That's cool. And then I realized there's 2 bosses on the final floor. And I was like, no fucking way. You got to do this whole dungeon again? So this was the fucking longest thing ever because I had to do it twice. And then when tragedy happened, I had to do it a 3rd time. So this dungeon took me so long. So that's why I remember it so well. Even though this commentary is probably a couple months after I actually did this. I remember this dungeon all too well. All too well. Yeah, this is the one of those floors where I just got lost, and I kept going the wrong way, going to dead ends. All these damn stone pillars everywhere, random battles everywhere. Thank God I cut out all these battles, because good lord, look how many there are. It's just ridiculous. I mean, imagine being the one playing this game. You're fighting all these battles every 10 steps you take. It's like, what the hell, man? And most of the time, you're just fighting the same goddamn enemy over and over. By the way, by the same enemy, I mean black goblins. Oh my god, I think 5 out of every 6 battles in all of these dungeons is a black goblin. No joke. Whether it's just one group of them, or sometimes you just fight one black goblin. It's like, why even bother? At this point, if you're doing this dungeon and you can't beat a black goblin, why even have them be an enemy? Alright, so this floor I took entirely too long on, I remember completely, because I wandered around and talked to pretty much all of these mermaids just to see what the hell they had to say. And I think originally I had planned to try and do voices for all of them, but good lord, I talked to so many of them that I'm not even gonna bother. A lot of them just say irrelevant shit anyway, like about mermaids and, oh my god, there's humans here, and like, you're the warriors of light, you guys are awesome, and stuff like that. Also point out that this is floor 5, and I said this is where the first boss is, and this is true. If you kind of read all the clues that these girls are talking about of who the boss is, they say it's some creepy looking man, some weird looking man, some angry looking man, some evil looking man. They don't say he's a monster, he's actually a man. So if that's not already giving you kind of a clue as to what enemy from Final Fantasy V it is, I'll kind of let it sink in some more before I let the clues keep sinking in until I finally get to him, because I literally build this up for so goddamn long, because I wanted to search thoroughly, you know? There was no random battles, so when there's no random battles, I don't mind searching thoroughly. It's really not that hard. By that I mean not that hard on the mind, because you're not like running into a battle every 2 fucking seconds. That really does wear on your mind. People here? How odd. You do realize you're underwater, right? Huh? Oxyale? What's that? This is my favorite cave. Well, you know what? It would be my favorite cave if you get the fuck out of the way, lady. Yeah, I literally checked out every dead end everywhere. I didn't know where I was supposed to go. Thought maybe there might be treasure around too. I just felt like checking every little freaking crevice and crack that I could find. Every little crevice and crack that I could find. There's broken robots everywhere. I'm not sure what the broken robots are supposed to signify. I mean, you think they're supposed to be like something. Oh, that girl right there just mentioned something about a legendary sword that the guy was looking for. Legendary sword? Guy looking for a legendary sword. Final Fantasy V. Come on. Think hard, people. Think hard. If you still don't know who it is, we're getting closer and closer to where he actually is. He's a big guy, and we're little guys. I don't know if that's really a clue, but getting closer. Dangerous looking man. He's dangerous, he's big, he's scary, he's looking for a sword. He's from Final Fantasy V. Still nobody? Nobody? Still nobody, huh? I'll just have to point it out when I get to him then. This guy wanted to know if there's a treasure chest. He's looking for something with a treasure chest, huh? Yeah, sure. So this is how you go fight the boss. You agree to help these mermaids out. And of course, even though I said yes, I went and looked around some more because I'm a freaking idiot. And I like to waste a lot of time just wandering aimlessly talking to mermaids. I like it here. It's nice to do a little sunbathing underwater. Makes a lot of sense. Makes a whole hell of a lot of sense. I keep running into this big man lately, huh? Don't we all? Don't we all? Alright, so I think finally I said, fuck it, let's go. And I healed first, I guess. I guess I was a little worried because this is the 3rd dungeon and I thought maybe the bosses would actually put up a fight this time. And boy was I right in the long run. I'm off to play at the water's edge. You should come too. I wish I'd been born with red fins. So this boss I actually had to fight 3 times since I went through this dungeon 3 times. So let's go ahead and see who it is though. I'm afraid the contents of the chest are already in my possession. Egress is clear. But before I do, I'll test the power of Excalibur on you. See? There he is. In all his glory. Mr. Gilgamesh, probably the most popular character from Final Fantasy V. In fact, he is, because the 4 generic characters that you actually control in that game, nowhere near as interesting as Gilgamesh is. Gilgamesh is just that goddamn entertaining. Anyways, I was trying to say right before this battle started, I had to fight this guy 3 times. Now, he's not really very difficult, so that wasn't really a big deal. But I had to fight him 3 times because I had to do this dungeon 3 times. Yeah, like I already pointed out several times already in this video. I had to do this dungeon 3 whole times. Therefore, I fought this guy 3 times because he's on the 5th floor, and you have to defeat him to move on to the next. Like, you have, the girl says you have to go, the door like won't budge or whatever. That girl who said the door wouldn't budge, well, it won't budge until you defeat this guy. It's like kind of a weird thing, but it is what it is. Anywho, it's just nice to see Gilgamesh in another game. Gilgamesh is one of the more entertaining characters of the Final Fantasy universe. So anytime you can see him show his face in any games, it's a nice little nostalgic feel. I can think of a few other Final Fantasy games where he shows up, like in Final Fantasy VIII, he shows up, you know how, you know Odin in Final Fantasy VIII? How he comes in randomly in random battles and just kills all the enemies for you, and it's just random, he doesn't do it every time, he just does it sometimes. Well, later in the game, if you get a certain item or something, I can't remember exactly how it works, but Gilgamesh will actually replace him as the guy who will come out before battles and destroy all the enemies. It's pretty cool how that was a pretty cool cameo appearance for him. Probably one of the more entertaining ones. Anywho, Gilgamesh dies. Got some Genji gloves for beating him. I think at this point in the game I didn't really need any stinking Genji gloves, did I? Oh, I guess I did. I guess I'm thinking of a different game. Oh yeah, I guess I could only put it on my knight. Yeah, I thought I could put it on my master, maybe. Wrong. And then it took me a minute to remember where the hell the door is on this place, but yeah. Other places that Gilgamesh shows up, I'm trying to think. Let's see, Final Fantasy V is where he makes his first appearance. Then he makes this cameo appearance in Final Fantasy 1 Dawn of Souls. I know he shows up in Final Fantasy VIII as like a summon slash, summon kind of character, and he's and he kind of has a, oh no, he has a card, dedicated to him too, in the card game in Final Fantasy VIII. And don't accidentally leave right there, which I almost did. Gilgamesh, let's see, there's Yojimbo from Final Fantasy X, the summon. He's kind of like him, he has swords. He's kind of quirky. He's not quite Gilgamesh, but he's very similar. I won't say he's Gilgamesh, but that just reminded me of him very much. Any others? This is not coming to me right now. I'm sure he shows up in other games. I'm trying to think. Final Fantasy 5 or 6. Does he show up in Final Fantasy 6? I don't remember. If he does, I think you fight him in that secret arena place. I think that might be where you fight him, the secret arena. Let's see, Final Fantasy 7. Does he show up in 7? I don't even know why I'm still talking about Gilgamesh. I guess he's just so awesome, and I have nothing else better to talk about. Yeah, I can't think offhand of any other games he shows up in. Anybody wants to, go in the comments who are still happen to be watching all through this video. Anybody want to point out in the comments other games that Gilgamesh shows up in? By all means, I would like to be reminded, because I really cannot remember at this point in time. And if you've already watched this far into the video, I commend you, because it is not as entertaining as I originally thought it might be. But then again, if you're trying to get through these dungeons and you would like a little bit of a guide through some of these floors, where to go and where not to go, because clearly I go where you're not supposed to go more than I go where you're supposed to go. But at least I'm showing you what it's like to go through this on a blind kind of run. Because like I said, these are completely blind. First time I had ever done these dungeons. I don't think I've really mentioned that on this particular video. This is the first time I ever went through this dungeon, hence the reason why I'm running into dead ends, hence the reason I didn't notice the door down over there in that bottom corner, and I went back and thought I couldn't go anywhere, And I spent another couple minutes here going, where the fuck am I supposed to go? I actually went all the way back up, didn't I? Yep. Looks like I did. Ah, just another mind fuck of a floor that I did not see the door on. When I go back over to the other side, I feel real dumb when I didn't notice that I didn't even see the door, and I'm like, oh, there was a door there the whole time. You mean there was a door there the whole time? See, right there, I noticed that door, and I'm like, really? There's a door there? So I was like, fucking A. How did I not see that? So dumb. And the stairs are right there too, man. I was so close, yet so far. Yet so far. Yeah, based on how many random battles I'm running to just watching this, you just imagine a counter. If I bothered to count how many battles I fought going through this 3 times, man. 3 times. I wish I would have counted just so I could have been like, guys, look how much bullshit I went through just to record this for you. Well, it wasn't all for you, but you know, record this period or just to go through this at all. Fuck. Whether I was recording or not. Just how annoying it is. Okay. Finally another floor that is kind of weird. It's got a bunch of... It's like a big library with a bunch of scholars. And then yet again I decided I was going to talk to a bunch of them and see what the hell they had to say. I'm pretty sure at some point I was like, fuck it, I'm not going to talk to any more of these guys. I just want to get through this shit. But I don't know how much further into the video that revelation happens. I guess I was curious just to see the kind of stuff they'll talk about. Talk about really random stuff. Mostly about being smart and doing research and stuff. Or just random tips and questions. Like, now I see. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I won't let you interfere with my research. Like, that's what I was trying to do. How odd. This is not my study. This is somebody else's study. Can I study in your study? Let's study, buddy. Oh, another burp. 2 burps in one video. Crazy. Seriously, at one point I just gave up talking to these guys, didn't I? Where will your path lead you, young master? Young master debater? Yep, I'm pretty sure this is the point where I said, fuck it, I'm not talking anymore. Wahahaha, adamantite, filthy rich. I could get out of your way. What a douchebag that guy is. Oh, and then yet the other weird floor. There's a bunch of dancers on this floor, which is kind of weird. All you really gotta do is... I don't know why I went up right at the middle like a dummy, yeah. But all you gotta do is just, you know, run right by him, wait for him to move out of your way and keep running. Very weird floor. Almost like a platforming... Kind of threw some platforming elements into the game, even though it's not platforming, but in a sense, just platforming elements. Like that part and then this part, where you kind of have to get in their way and then follow them around in a circle. And then cut them off and follow them around in a circle. I just like that they added a few weird elements into it and not just having it be a straight up dungeon crawler where you're just fighting enemies every floor. I really like the random uniqueness they added into it. And if I haven't already mentioned this, the order of these floors that I've gone in, this is not the order of the floors every time that you go through this dungeon. They will actually be in a different order every time you go into the dungeon, so it really sucks. So like I said, going through this dungeon 3 times, not knowing the order of the floors, really irritating, because then sometimes you'll run into this one right away, or right in the middle, or right at the end. In this case, it was right at the end of the first 10 floors. Each one of these girls, I don't know why I bothered to talk to most of them, but I like to see what kind of different dances they talked about. And in the first little room, they talked about different dances. This one, they just talked about rehearsing and stuff. You must be limber to limbo. Jazz isn't half bad. You're right, it's all bad. It's not just half, it's all. Alright, so floor 10. I believe this is the second boss in the dungeon. No mermaids required. But thank God, I just go straight to the boss. Well, after I look around a little bit, but pretty sure, yep. Nothing else to do here but fight the boss. And this will be another boss from Final Fantasy V, but which boss will it be? Nobody knows. Even I don't remember. Who the hell is it again? Interlopers. Oh, it's Atomos. Atomos. Big mouth mother effer who likes to suck up whole galaxy like Galaga. Galaga? Did I really just say Galaga? I meant to say Galactus, the X-Man, but he doesn't actually suck up whole galaxies. He likes to suck up entire towns and cities, though. I.e. Final Fantasy IX, if you've ever played that. Pretty awesome cutscene of him destroying a whole city. I don't want to say any more than that, but if you haven't played Final Fantasy IX, or at least haven't seen the cutscene where Atomos is doing some destruction, you should watch that. It's fucking awesome. As for Final Fantasy V, which is where Atomos first shows up and is a significant boss, oh man, where do you fight him in that game? I don't remember where you fight him in that game. I guess it doesn't really matter where you fight him. I just remember that you do, because he's from Final Fantasy V. That's the whole point of this dungeon. Yeah, but he's not particularly hard. This is the other boss I had to fight 3 times, because you have to fight the boss on floor 5 and 10 every time you go through here, just to continue. You can't skip the bosses. You can't choose a different boss. There are only 4 bosses per dungeon. No more, no less. Atomos. I think Atomos is a summon in Final Fantasy VI, actually. I'm trying to think of other places where Atomos shows up. He's not... I don't think he shows up in Final Fantasy 8 or 7. No. Final Fantasy 9 was the first time I ever saw Atomos, because I had never played 5 or 6 until after I had played 7, 8, 9, if that makes any sense. It does when you were my age, okay? My age, no Super Nintendo. Playing 7, 8, 9 before 4, 5, 6 makes sense. It just does. Yeah. Atomos' whole theme is with that big ass mouth is sucking. He just sucks really hard. He just sucks really hard. In fact, oh crap, we're coming up. Oh, I just realized that this... I forgot I split this place into 3 videos. We're actually coming up on the end of this episode. Good. Good. I need to take a breather anyways from this post-commentary. I said there was going to be long lulls, and I didn't even leave very many long lulls in this episode. And no, I don't mean long LOLs. I mean long lulls as in long places where I do not talk. Meaning not right now, because I'm talking. Oh my god, Atomos, die! Die! There he goes. Alright, so that is going to conclude this episode of Final Fantasy 1 Dawn of Souls, going through the Lifespring Grotto. I'm only halfway through, though, so there's going to be another episode where we take on the second half of this Lifespring Grotto, where I have to fight the final 2 bosses in the dungeon. Yeah, so next time on Let's Play Final Fantasy 1, we'll take on the second half of Lifespring Grotto and fight the first of the final 2 bosses. Yeah, that means there's one more episode of this dungeon. Yeah, I'll just shut up for now. Until then, peace.